This week, we're actually going to catch up on some of our listener questions. We haven't done a Q&A in a long time, and some of the questions were piling up. It's always our favorite to do. But before we get into some of these week's questions, one of the questions this week actually made me think of something that went on last week that we never got to because we had so much going on between the party and, the going out with the Coens and, all that. So at Shams' party, Layla, who everybody knows, and her son, who she talked about, the great soccer player, and Zeba and her daughter, there was a love connection.
It was not a love connection.
I mean, listen, they're little, but they were definitely both smitten with each other.
10.
Yeah, you could tell that they definitely both were smitten with each other. They were crushing on each other.
Okay, well, Layla was like, Nico wasn't crushing on her. She was crushing on Nico. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you called the next day and took her out to lunch, asked her out to lunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, sorry, Nico, she's already on her way home. Bye.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely mutual. But my question is, in totay's environment, when's it too early to have that conversation with your kid about
What, the birds and the bees?
Yeah, because again, it was innocence. I'm not suggesting that they were doing anything inappropriate or anything, but you could just see that they definitely, like everybody else in the room, disappeared for them two, and they were just talking with each other.
It's not even remotely physical. It's just innocent. Yeah, it's not a birds and the bees.
100. And listen, the reason I bring that up as part of why I'm asking is because there's a question that we have today that is a little bit more.
I have the answer.
What we're talking about, but it made me think of that last week because again, last week, and like you said, the next day he was calling up. They were looking to go hang out, and it was. Like when is it too early? And now
I know the answer.
There's so much at your disposal that just wasn't available to you in the past. That I feel like they grow up a lot quicker, and for you to be like, hey, no, they're too young. I think at some point you might be a little naive.
No, I know the answer.
Okay.
When they ask.
Definitely not.
That's
a terrible. I've never asked anybody anything. A guy's not asking for the most part. They're just, they're just doing, especially now, there's so much shit out there available to them. They don't need to ask. They just think, oh, all right, it's like the porn they see. So what do? I choke her and I fucking kick her in the chest because some of the porn you see is like so crazy. I don't know. It's a.
Okay. So since you brought up two cute little, attractive little babies, the 10-year-olds, right? And they're like, it's interesting because they're both 10 and they're both so cute and all this good stuff. And like the way that you have a crush when you're at that age is just that innocent, sweet, like crush. Like, he,
lightning bolt. It was kind of like a thunderbolt. But you're right. They're little kids.
It doesn't
neither
go
one
past
of them are
that.
developed. It's not, it's not any of that. Like, it's not. But there was definitely, you could see it. You could see that she was enamored with him and vice versa. And again, there's other little kids. It wasn't like they were the only two kids in the room. There were other little girls in the room. He was basically the only boy about his age, though. You know what I mean? And he came in like fucking Ronaldo. You know what I mean? He had a soccer uniform on. He came in. So, but it was just like
Ronaldo?
He's probably the most famous soccer player on the planet.
Okay. Thought it was David Beckham.
That's 20 years ago.
What about
what?
That's
really? Who's
Pele?
your favorite actress? Elizabeth Taylor. I love her.
Pele.
There you go.
Pele's a soccer player.
There's another one. There's another one.
But what happens is that when your kids or nieces, little siblings, they show interest, like, oh, mommy, what was that on TV? Like Lassie died, right? The dog.
Yeah.
So like, it was like
Lassie didn't die. Old Yeller died.
Okay. Yeah. So the way that people would learn about death would be by watching Lassie.
That's how I did. Was stuff like that.
Yeller.
Was watching stuff, or you know what I mean. maybe
then,
an older, not to me because I didn't, but like,
or like a Bill Cosby episode used to be the way we would deal with things like Family Ties.
You ever see the episode
Silver
of
Spoons?
You ever see the episode? Speaking of which, you ever see the episode of Bill Cosby? You people could YouTube this if you want.
Okay.
Where he would slip them. Make them his famous barbecue sauce, and his famous barbecue sauce. If he gave it to the girls, they would lose all their control, and they would get, real horny from his barbecue sauce. Okay. You gotta watch it now, knowing what we know. It's fucking creepy as hell. And he wrote the episode. You know what I'm saying? Go YouTube it, and I promise you, knowing what you know now, you'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Well, yeah. So like in olden days, we would watch a sitcom,
olden times,
like Silver Spoon or Facts of Life, or like the spinoff from Cosby Show was Different World. Like that's where we would learn how to deal with like.
Now it's just straight porn. You know what I mean? This
no, like college. What
but now
are you what now, the world? Now you're talking about porn. Like
it's out there,
conversations